What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to the TRU RAIDER Podcast. I'm your host, TRU RAIDER. I am at my mother-in-law's right now. I'm in the back bedroom, and I don't know how my internet connection is going to be. I don't know how my sound is right now. I just had a procedure done today. We got a whole lot of things going on, but I want to talk about a couple of key things, right? A couple of key things right now is, for one, should the Raiders be looking at benching quarterback Geno Smith? For two, Kolton Miller injury update. And for three, what is this going to actually look like going into week 5 against the Indianapolis Colts? Now, bear with me. My throat kind of hurts. I had a endoscopy where they go down into your throat and all that. I got put under today, and so I'm kind of a little out of it, but I'm going to do my best to just kind of keep up and let's do this thing, right? So, first off, should the Raiders be looking at potentially benching quarterback Geno Smith? And there's a whole lot of speculation in Raider Nation right now, right? I know during the game against the Bears, I was doing a watch party, and I had like 1,000 people in the chat, and so many people were saying, Geno ain't it, Geno sucks, bench Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett time. People were saying, what about Derek Carr? Let's bring Derek Carr out of retirement. There was a whole lot of things going on, right? And I'm not here to really defend Geno Smith, because let's face it, Geno Smith, he played worthy of getting benched. Geno Smith absolutely played worthy of getting benched. And so I'm not going to try to pretend that he's in a position where that shouldn't happen, right? Because it maybe should. It maybe should. Hold up real quick. I just realized I did not put my do not disturb. I don't want any phone calls coming in during this, man, because it gets crazy. So, first off, Geno Smith, I'm going to say it. He's the best quarterback on our roster, right? Plain and simple. Like it, don't like it. It is what it is. Geno Smith is the best quarterback on our roster. Now, does that mean that he should just flat out have his spot? I don't believe so. One of the things that's starting to kind of bother me is that Pete Carroll always says, compete, right? And he's talking about competing, but when it comes down to it, there's certain players that are just kind of seem to have their spot on lock, right? And I do not like that. I do not like that at all, because if you were underperforming, then you should be having to compete for your position. And that doesn't mean, we should just, hand it off to the next guy down the line and you don't get a chance, you already screwed it up. No, I believe that there needs to be a competition. There absolutely needs to be a competition when it comes to this, because if not, then what are we going to have, right? What are we going to have? The only competition that we really hear about is JPJ battling Alex Cappa for right guard. Like, what the hell is that? Why is JPJ our second-round pick from last year, our best offensive lineman right now, because Kolton Miller is going to be out for a little bit, and I'll get to talking about that. Why is he the only one that's in a competition right now? Hummer said no to benching Geno. We just saw him tie his worst game ever. I don't think he will be that he will keep being that bad, but 2 of those interceptions were identical plays. Chip could have called a repeat play when beat. And that's exactly it, right? Is that they already they knew it. They had watched enough tape that they knew it when it was coming. And then when it came down to it, God's child with the follow salute. That's crazy. Okay, custom rugs. So yeah, do I think that Geno Smith tried to force it in? Yes. And a lot of people got up in arms because they're like, well, Pete Carroll was saying that Geno Smith doesn't try to force the ball. They didn't say that he doesn't. He said that he doesn't try to force the ball, that he does force the ball. You know what I'm saying? Pete Carroll is well aware that his boy, Geno Smith, is the biggest problem on the Raiders right now. And this is a difficult thing to really look at, right? Because, okay, other teams are benching their quarterbacks, right? It's been happening. Russell Wilson got benched for Jackson Dart. But the thing that we really have to look at is that we did not draft a rookie quarterback. We do not have a quarterback who's standing in line waiting to get an opportunity to start like these other teams, right? What we have is we have Kenny Pickett that we brought in because Aiden O'Connell has a fractured wrist, right? And so what are we really looking at when it comes to that? Geno Smith, is he playing horrible? Absolutely. And I'm going to pull it up on screen real quick. Sorry, on TikTok, I can't do it. I'm pulling it up on YouTube. I want to pull up Kenny Pickett's stats. Now, Kenny Pickett, 6'3" quarterback. He was drafted in the first round, 2022, number 20 overall. Dude played 13 games. He threw for 2,400 yards. He threw for 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and was sacked 27 times. 2,400 yards, 7 interceptions. 7 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Okay, he's a rookie, right? Okay, I could see that. Frias 93 with the follow. Salute. I got no opinion on Stroud and the Ravens, man. We're talking about Raiders right now. Big Money said just throw away the whole Raiders organization. And when we look at, okay, can Kenny Pickett get it done? Okay, that was his rookie year, right? Then you go into year 2 with Pittsburgh. 12 games played, threw for 2,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Like, what are we talking about, man? The dude has never even broken double-digit passing touchdowns. Now, my wife is a Steelers fan, right? And a lot of her family are Steelers fans. And so I've watched a fair amount of Pittsburgh games with them while Kenny Pickett was their quarterback. And I got to tell you, the dude stinks. He absolutely stinks. Do I think that maybe there's some hope of, well, he's highly drafted and maybe he sits for a little bit and he could come in and have this resurgence? Yes, I get that point of view, right? Another thing that people are saying is, bring Derek Carr out of retirement. I don't think that the Raiders are ever going to bring Derek Carr back in the building. Do I think that Derek Carr at his prime was a better quarterback than Geno Smith in his prime? Yes, absolutely. Do I think that Derek Carr could come in today? He went out last year with a bad shoulder injury, and I believe he had surgery. And supposedly he's been exercising, right, and staying in shape. What does that look like? Is he actually something that's worth it? Incognito said they said the same thing about Danny Dimes, though. But see, the thing is that Danny Dimes actually played good for the Giants. He even got himself a big-ass contract. And then he just, kind of shit the bed. And he wasn't ever, this perfect quarterback. But they decided, you know what? This really isn't working for us. And now he's doing super good over there. He's doing a lot better over there than he did before, right? So I can't bring up Kenny Pitt's stats without bringing up anything else. Hey, just Raiders, baby. Salute, man. Glad you made it. Let me get this chat in real quick. Hummer said, look up Henry Ford, teach how he never promoted a guy who seasoned food before tasting. Chip Kelly made Genty change stance before day 1. Pete approved. This game, he stood his way and JPJ in. And there's a whole lot of things that I think that are on Chip Kelly, right? Santos said, I'd rather take my chances with Kenny Pickett or Cam Miller. Our season is cooked anyways. Absolutely not. Geno Smith has the highest ceiling right now. Do I believe that he's going to be that guy to turn it around? I hope so. Do I think that he's proved to us that he will? No, he hasn't, man. He really hasn't. Incognito said, I'd rather take Pickett over Geno at this point. We got Paul Serrano with the follow. Salute. Sneakerology said, if you are calling for Pickett, you are a casual. See, and I get it, right? Like people that follow box scores, people that kind of loosely watch. I could see how it's like, you know what, this looks awful. We need to move on, right? True cost with the follow, salute. But one of the big things that I really want to see is what we had, and I'm not going to forget to pull up these stats for Geno, right? But what we had was that different phases of our team have looked awful at different times, right? Against the Commanders, we could not stop the run, period. It was ridiculous how many rushing yards that they had against us. Every other game this season, we've held the run really, really good. Duck with the follow, salute. So one of the things that I want to look at is like last week, everybody was up in arms about the offensive line. Our offensive line sucks. We need to go out there and we need to do this. We need to do that. We need to swap people around. Blah, 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 right? And then JPJ came back in at right guard, and people were pissed. People said, what the F is going on? We absolutely need Jackson Powers Johnson to play center. Well, Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly made it pretty clear in the press conference before the Bears game of that they have not had an opportunity to actually have this line that they set up in the offseason in the positions that they're at play more than one game together. Okay, cool. So we came in after the Commanders game where our offensive line was atrocious, where our running game was awful, where we did not tackle correctly. And guess what we did? We absolutely tackled great. We also not only tackled great, our blocking game was on point, on absolute point. I don't even know if Geno actually got a true pressure the entire game. Like the dude was in a clean pocket almost the entire time, right? Sean says, real question, do you think Kenny Pickett opens up Chip Kelly's play style more efficiently than Geno? And that's something to actually consider, right? Because it's kind of like the Danny Dimes thing, right? Or Indiana Jones, as they now call him, goes over there to the Colts and absolutely, if you bet over and unders, always put the over on Danny Dimes because every single week this season, he has gotten the over on passing yards. Like, that's crazy, right? So our offensive line looked great. Our running game looked absolutely beautiful with Raheem Mostert and Ashton Genty both having big days, right? Just Raiders Baby says, there is a big difference with JPJ in the starting lineup. He brings physicality to our own line. And see, and that's what I'm talking about, right? Is that they actually made the proper moves in order to get our offensive line to play correctly, right? They made the appropriate blocks to get Ashton Genty going. They mixed up some plays, got Ashton Genty involved in the passing game, right? They scored 2 touchdowns in the air. Absolutely good. Sports guy Drew, I don't have to believe in Santa. I am Santa, bro. Come on now. So another thing, let me get this in real quick, man. What? Okay, there. Raider 7528, what's good, man? He said, what can we get for Max in a trade? This should be the only thing on every Raiders fan mind right now. 7528, I can't agree with you on that. You're always here, man. I always love what you contribute to the chat. You definitely bring comedic relief a lot of the times, man. It's great. But I can't agree with trading Max Crosby. Max Crosby just got the highest ranking game out of a player by PFF. I saw a video by Sanjit T where he was talking about that previously Jalen Hurts had like the highest score for like a single game, and it was like a 16 or whatever. And I don't know how PFF does all their scoring and all that stuff, right? But Max Crosby scored a 20 on that scale, right? The dude was absolutely a beast, a disruption everywhere. It was, I guess it was like 20 positive plays or something like that. And when you have a guy that's like that gets your locker room going the way he does, I get it, right? It would be nice to have some first round picks and put some pieces in place. But if you look at our drafting history, it's been horrible. It's been absolutely horrible. Like what happened for years, right? We're talking about Gruden, right? They traded away Khalil Mack. They got all those first-round picks. That turned into a shit show. The only player that even turned out decent on that was Josh Jacobs, and he's not even on the team anymore, right? And then, okay, let's get a little bit more recent. Then we have Tom Telesco brought in Brock Bowers. Great pickup. Absolutely great pickup, right? And then we got JPJ. I love JPJ. The dude's got concussion issues. That's a dangerous pick. That's why he fell to the second round, right? Because he was projected to be a first-round pick. He was the best center, And then Forrest Hump said Geno needs to go. That's a great name, man, Forrest Hump. And then, if you look at this last draft, okay, we got Genty. Cool, right? And then we got Jack Besh in the second round, who's not even getting snaps. 4 weeks in, and Pete Carroll's finally saying, yeah, we need to get Jack Besh more snaps. Like, what is going on here, right? We are not appropriately using these picks. And I don't have a whole lot of faith. Yes, we hit with Brock Bowers. Yes, we hit with Ashton Genty. I do like the JPJ pick. I'm not convinced about Jack Besh, right? And then our thirds and fourths have really not even been players that have really been very, very impactful, right? Trey Tucker was a third-round pick. Okay, cool. We got that. DJ Glaze, he's a starter, but that's pretty much because Thayer Mumford shit the bed, right? So, like, if we trade away our absolute best, he's our best player, right? He is, and until Brock Bowers or Ashton Genty can stay consistent for years and really put it together and be that guy to get that mindset in the team, the culture thing that Max Crosby does. Because let's face it, through different regimes and everything, Max Crosby has stayed consistent. He's the first one in the building. He's the last one. Like he's got so many things to offer us besides just great play and being disruptive. So I personally don't like that, right? Let me see. Raider 7528, and he called it last year, and so I'm going to read this one real quick. He said, the season is over. Let's all be realistic. A player of Max's caliber could fetch us multiple top picks in a trade. This is exactly what the team needs. See, in like I just said, man, I don't think that we'd, for one, do it, and I don't think that we'd appropriately use those picks, man. See, and just Raiders, baby, and I want to read on this, Andy with the follow salute, because one of the big things that's happened in Raider Nation, right, is that we consistently have turnover after turnover after turnover when it comes to our coaching staff, when it comes to players, just up and down the line, right? And so quickly we were like, fire Brendan Carroll, and then we're like, bench Geno Smith. And every time somebody messes up, we're like, get rid of him, and like, how realistic is that into building some kind of continuity, right? Because we're not in a Josh McDaniels kind of situation where we just got some trash going on. Q, OGF Joel, man, thank you for the gifts, man. Bat Boy Taters, I like those, man. Shedeur Sanders does not need to be a Raider. Shedeur Sanders is a third-string quarterback on his team. He can't even beat out Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? See, and that's the emotional thing that's happening. Robert Pena, what's good, man? That's the emotional thing that's happening in Raider Nation right now, is where everybody is just like, oh no, like let's burn the house down because the damn sink is clogged. You know what I'm saying? Like, the sink is clogged. If you look at all phases of the game against the Bears, right? And I get it. It was against the Bears. The Bears are not a top tier team. They're not. I'm not going to try to pretend like they are, but they are. Did you see the beating that they put on the Cowboys? They looked damn good against the Cowboys. And then they walked into Allegiant Stadium and they could not get the run going. They couldn't get shit going. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that we had 4 turnovers, they wouldn't have even gotten close. We beat ourselves, right? Every position on our team played absolutely lights out except for Geno Smith. And I get it. And that's why everybody's calling for his head. That's why everybody's like, oh, Geno's got to go. He's the problem, right? Game 1 against the Patriots, I think that he played pretty damn good, right? He tied the Raiders franchise record for the number of passes that were over 20 yards in a single game. In a single game, that was 9. Gomez with the follow salute. And yes, Chudini, it's the most important position, and we absolutely need a quarterback, right? And I'm not saying that, oh, well, we need to keep Geno Smith for the next 5 years because he's our man. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we do not have a better option on our roster right now. And so for us to just go out there and bench Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett's not going to come in here and be an all-star. You know, he's not going to have some Pro Bowl year where he's, Mr. Comeback or whatever. That's going to be Danny Dimes, actually. What is it, Comeback Player of the Year? Kenny Pickett's not going to do that. Now, could Kenny Pickett come in and maybe run a decent offense and maybe, I don't know, maybe he won't throw more picks than Geno Smith, right? Maybe he won't, or maybe he will. Let me see. Kalini Miles was good. Yeah, why would we trade a franchise player? We don't have enough of them. We need to hold on to what we got. We got Dom in the building. Salute, man. 7528, you got great point. We have multiple needs. The secondary, for example, is awful. Yes, I would love for us to get some secondary help, right? I would love to see us get a defensive tackle. I would love for us to get a true right guard. Shit, at this point, we might need a left guard or an interior lineman, right? Because if we can upgrade at those, it's going to change us. We don't need a receiver. I would love to have a true number one, but we need to build our trenches in our secondary first. And we need a quarterback. Now, if Geno Smith can start getting to the way that he played in Seattle, because let's face it, this is the worst that he has played maybe since the Jets. I'm going to pull up his stats real quick over here on YouTube. So Geno Smith, he's the same size as Kenny Pickett, except bigger hands, of course, because Kenny Pickett's got them small hands, that's a liability, man. You know, I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'7", man. I got pretty small hands. When it comes to gripping a football, it's a whole different story. It's a whole different story than a player that's got a bigger hand, right? It just is. That's just a fact of life. That's a fact of nature. There's going to be big differences. Did you see that guy from the Colts where he went to do a celebration as he was running in the end zone and he went to hold it in one hand and it popped out? Then you got your quarterback with the ball popping out. You know what I'm saying? You don't want it. You don't want it. So, Geno Smith. Let's just go with his rookie year. 12 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. Damn, that's awful. Next year, 13-13. And then I believe that they benched him the following year because he only played one game, right? And then when he got to Seattle, when he took over the starting position in Seattle in 2017, he threw for 4,282 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks. That is an absolutely great year, right? I don't know that he's going to be that guy for us, right? If he can be, that's better than Kenny Pickett. That's better than Cam Miller. That's better than Aiden O'Connell, period. The following year, 3,600 passing yards. And he had 20 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. I like the ratio. That's not bad, right? That's not horrible. But 20 touchdowns, that's not great. That's not great. But if you have Ashton Genty getting a bunch of on the ground, Raheem Mostert getting a bunch of them on the ground, then, what does it matter, right? And then, let me see. Let me go into this real quick. Last year with Seattle, he threw for 4,300 yards, and he had 21 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. 15 interceptions is not great, you guys. He's already got half of that in 4 weeks. So, yeah, is Geno on pace to get over 30 interceptions? Yeah, he is, man. Yeah, he is. And that's disgusting. That is disgusting. That doesn't mean he's going to stay on that pace, though, right? And like I said, I'm not here to cater to Geno Smith and say, no, we need to keep him. Because William, you're right. Derek Carr was better. Was. Past tense. Raider Ryan in the building. Salute, man. What's good? Let me see. Just Raiders baby said, first round QB doesn't mean we're going to ball out. We just need to draft the right QB within first 3 rounds. Look at Cam Ward in Tennessee. They're 0-4. 714 Vegas girl, salute. They are 0-4 in Tennessee, right? Cam Ward is not looking good out there. He is not looking good out there. And so, like, I'm not going to be thinking, oh, we need the number 1 overall pick in order for things to turn out, you know? Last year when we were talking about tanking and shit, I was like, damn, I think we should go get Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders didn't get drafted till the 5th round, and right now he's the 3rd-string quarterback on the damn Browns. Hell, they probably put in Deshaun Watson before they put him in, man. Just crazy. Because watching his tape, I thought he had some damn good tape. But the other thing about Shedeur Sanders is I thought that he looked a whole lot like Geno Smith with less experience. So, like, damn, dude, this green screen on this fucking phone sucks. So it's brutal, man. It can get brutal. Just Raider Baby said, but if Geno doesn't turn around for the next 3 games, we'll have to sit Geno for Kenny because Geno can't just be throwing 3+ picks every game. And I don't think that that's what's going to happen, right? Because, oh, shit, Raiders on TikTok said, Pickett is the ticket. The thing is that what we have seen so far this year is each game there's been players or positions that are messing up, right? And we've been making those proper corrections. And you also got to keep in mind, part of what's going on with Geno Smith is Brock Bowers has a knee injury. He's been wearing a knee brace. He's been slower than he has been, right? And not having Brock Bowers, teams know that we don't really have Brock Bowers. And so it's making it a whole lot better, better for them, right? A lot more difficult for us because teams know that we do not have superstar wide receivers. We have a superstar tight end. We have a superstar running back. And that's it, man. And then we got a whole lot of guys that are good weapons that can get it done. So if you take Brock Bowers out of the game and then, Ashton Genty wasn't getting it going, yes, it's pretty easy to set up coverages for, you got Jacoby Myers, right? You know he's going to be the guy. So you watch him more. That's where all the picks went to. All 3 picks were thrown targeted towards Jacoby Myers. Somehow they took Trey Tucker completely out of that game when he absolutely balled out the game before. And then, Dante Thornton Jr., it's been pretty clear you can single coverage him, and it's working. All right, I'm going to get into this because Lick My Nikes said, are we in trouble with Kolton Miller being injured? Yes, we do have an update on Kolton Miller. Kolton Miller not only had a high ankle sprain, but he also has a hairline fracture on his leg. And this is a big, big problem. This is a big, big problem because right now there's a whole debate on, is he going to go on to IR and be out for a minimum of 4 weeks? Or is he going to be in a position where he's in pain, but he's able to play through it? Now, playing through it is very dangerous, right? Because with a hairline fracture on his leg, I think it's on his ankle, actually. AZA Roth, what's good? Salute with the follow. He's probably going to end up being out. Yeah, Santo said it. He's probably going to end up being out for the rest of the season. They haven't officially announced that yet, or at least as of, when did I start this live? 30 minutes ago. There was no new news on Kolton Miller being announced that he's going to be out for season, but it's pretty likely he's going to be out for a couple weeks. And when Pete Carroll was asked about this in the presser yesterday, he made it pretty clear that, like, he's not even thinking about Charles Grant as the guy. He's thinking about Stone Forsythe because he has more experience. And I kind of don't like that, right? We drafted Charles Grant in the 3rd round. We drafted DJ Glaze in the 3rd round, right? We drafted both these guys in the 3rd round. Last year, DJ Glaze, Thayer Mumford went down with an injury, and we put in DJ Glaze. This was pretty early on in the year, and DJ Glaze won that spot. And Mumford never got it back, and now he's not even on the roster. So why not give Charles Grant? Pete Carroll talks about, like, oh, I don't mind giving young guys a chance, right? I don't mind giving young guys an opportunity. But then when they keep asking about Charles Grant and Caleb Rogers, these offensive linemen that we just drafted in the 3rd round, he keeps like, it's like when they asked Josh McDaniels about Aiden O'Connell. And he'd be like, this isn't preseason, I hated Josh McDaniels so bad, bro. Hated him. Greg, bring Carr out of retirement. Honestly, if Derek Carr could come out of retirement and the money shit worked, because the problem is we'd have to trade for him, for one, right? Because he's still, the Saints own his contract still, and he's still owed $35 million by them. And then what does this look like? What does this look like? And then does he truly come into a brand new offense that he hasn't played in with before, with several players that he's never played with before, in week 4, and all of a sudden just magically figure out Chip Kelly's offense, and then he just is 2016 Derek Carr again? Like, that's not how it's going to work. That's not how it's going to work, you guys. Did I absolutely love Derek Carr? Yeah, I did. But after he got that injury, it was horrible to watch what would happen. As soon as there was pressure on Derek Carr, he would fold up. And sometimes he was sacked before the defender even got there. I'm not good with that, man. I'm not good with that. He was good when he was good. The way we moved on from him was stupid. But it was also time. I would have liked to see us secure another quarterback first, right? And why are you going to trade a 1st and a 2nd round pick for Devontae Adams just to get rid of the quarterback that he came to play with and replace with Jimmy Garoppolo? That's another thing that I got to bring up, man. And I'm not going to share a screen on it because it was another content creator that shared it, and it's not my shit. But holy shit, there was a side-by-side comparison done between Geno Smith and Gardner Minshew in the first 4 games of this year and last year. So the attempts and completions, almost identical. The yards. Geno Smith has 948 passing yards. Gardner Minshew in the first 4 games of last year had 877. What's that? A difference of like 72 yards? Geno Smith has thrown 6 touchdowns. Gardner Minshew in the first 4 games threw 3 touchdowns. Geno Smith has thrown 7 interceptions in his first 4 games. Gardner Minshew threw 3 interceptions in his first 4 games. The record of the team, Geno Smith, 1-3. Gardner Minshew, we were 2-2. But it's a weird comparison because those first 4 games, we still kind of had some hope. And it wasn't until after that it really, really fell apart. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, but it was like this kind of like, well, maybe because we beat the Ravens, so maybe, and then really what it came down to was, oh shit, this is pretty obviously not going to work, right? Then if you compare Geno Smith 2025 to Jimmy Garoppolo 2023, first 4 games of the season, attempts and completions almost identical. Passing yards, 948 for Geno, 917 for Jimmy G. Damn, that's a close comparison. Touchdowns, Geno Smith, 6. Jimmy Garoppolo, 6. Interceptions, Geno Smith, 7. Jimmy Garoppolo, 7. the team record after 4 games. Geno Smith 1-3, Jimmy G 2-2. That is a problem. That is an absolute problem because I remember quickly knowing that Jimmy G, I knew Jimmy G wasn't the answer before he even played a snap, right? But like, damn, bro. That's awful to think about that we are right on pace as we have been for the last 2 seasons. Except we have a worse starting record. We have a worse starting record. And we got a pretty tough couple of games coming up. Hummer, what you said about the offensive line, and we only had 1 game to try them out, how Pete and Chip wanted to. I could admit I was jumping the gun on that. I'm going to sit back and watch a couple games. And Hummer, I love that attitude, right? Because just because we have a feeling, just because we have a thought, doesn't mean that we have to just ride or die with whatever we said or whatever we believed at one point in time, right? Because, like, really, we got to be able to change our opinion based on new information, right? And so, okay, I'm not jumping out the window anymore about our offensive line because I was pissed. I made a video about I was pissed. And then, okay, it looks like they kind of cleaned that up. I like the way our offensive line looked. A lot of people were saying, Ashton Genty's a bust. And then he comes out and has a huge game. 3 touchdowns. What was it, 138 yards on the ground? Plus some receiving yards? Shit, that looked good. Vic, you're right about that. We don't really have home field advantage. I saw a video where they showed how much orange was in the stands over there versus the Bears and how they were the whole crowd was cheering when Geno Smith threw a pick and how much they were cheering when the Bears won. Oof, that is not home field advantage, man. So, yeah, so just like how okay, the run game is starting to get back up to expectations. The offensive line looked absolutely amazing this last game. So it's like, okay, they're cleaning it up. The run game, because the Bears ran the ball really good against the Cowboys, and they did not run the ball good against us. So it's like, okay, we got that. I like it. We're improving. We're making the proper moves in order to clean up our mistakes and get better, right? Little Mexico, who are we going to get if we get rid of Geno? What does that look like? You going, babe?
I made keys.
Oh. I forgot I had the car keys.
Sorry, guys.
All right, love you, babe.
Love you, honey.
All right, so where was I at? Oh, yeah, Little Mexico. Who are we going to get if we get rid of Geno? Who's out there? Because if we have an appropriate quarterback to replace Geno Smith right now, we need to consider it. But also, the whole thing that I said about Kenny Pickett and how I don't think he's the guy, there absolutely needs to be a quarterback competition going on, right? Hazel-eyed Alley with the repost, thank you. Like, in practice, if Pete Carroll's going to hold true to what he says about competing, then he needs to go in there into practice and give Kenny Pickett an opportunity to try to win that job. Right? Geno Smith needs to hold on to that job. It's not a given. Zach White said, y'all are smoking something if you think you have a better QB. We don't have a better QB on the roster. We don't, man. Just Raiders Baby said, Geno has been staring down. The receivers don't help. He's not going through all of his reads that are open, and he don't see. Decision-making has been poor, too. Last game was on Geno. And see, I felt like week 1, the decision-making was pretty damn good, right? Let me touch this real quick. So, Little Mexico said, we had a chance to get a rookie quarterback, but instead we went and got the one who leads in interceptions. We had that chance. We know we don't have that chance going into week 5. So can we be upset that we didn't do that? Absolutely. Absolutely, we can be upset that we didn't go and get a better quarterback, right? But right now, there's not a better quarterback that we can put to start in week 5. There's not. We don't have it. It's not out there, right? And so I get it. We have frustrations when it comes to quarterback, but if we've been able to clean up every position that is messing up, right? Our run game defense has gotten better. Our run game offense has gotten better. Our offensive line has gotten better, right? If you look at the first game, week 1, Geno Smith was making good decisions, right? And then week 2, what happened? Week 2, the Chargers came out and they exposed us. They said, you know what? We know that you're not going to run the ball. We know that Brock Bowers is injured. And so they were pushing 4 and dropping 7, right? We're going to take away the deep ball from Geno, right? And they're 4 defensive linemen versus our 5 offensive linemen without Jackson Powers Johnson. We were getting beat every time. It was ridiculous how bad they beat us, right? And so sure as shit, Geno looked like shit, right? Of course he's going to look like shit if the offensive line isn't blocking. Then week 3 against the Commanders, they just copy and pasted what the Chargers did. They did the exact same thing to us. And no shit, you cover all the receivers, you have Alex Kappa and Jordan Meredith and Dylan Parham looking around like they're friggin' lost, like they got CTE or some shit. And the defenders running. You got Bobby Wagner running in unblocked and hitting Geno Smith. So, yeah, then Geno Smith doesn't have confidence in his offensive line. Then he goes in against the Bears, and guess what? Pass protection was there. Did Geno Smith have confidence in that pass protection? Hell no. He's thinking, I'm going to get hit at any moment, right? I don't know what to do with all this time back here. And then he made some risky throws. Did he make bad decisions? Hell yeah. Does Brady hate Carr? Kind of. You chose him over me? You're going to stick with that guy? if you know, you know. But then, man, I think that now that the offensive line looked really good against the Bears, I think Geno Smith is going to go into this game. They're going to do a lot of work on Geno Smith to correct the errors that he's making. I think that they're going to give him better looks. I think he's going to have a little bit more confidence in his offensive line. And honestly, I think he plays a better game. I do. Do I think he's going to be perfect? No. Do I think Geno Smith is going to be an all-pro quarterback? No. Do I think he's going to be a top 5? No. Do I even think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback? No. But I don't think it's worth throwing in the towel in this season yet. Now, if we walk in there and we lose against the Colts, I can't really say with confidence that I truly believe that this team is just going to, figure it out 1-4 and just come back, right? But this is another thing I want to bring up. Hold up. So, everybody's saying, like, damn, the Colts are this team. Oh, Colts are this team, right? What has the Colts schedule been so far? Actually, I'm going to share a screen on that on YouTube, man, because this is worth talking about. The Colts schedule. Because I was going back, right? And I was watching, I watched some of the games and I was watching some highlights on some of the games I hadn't seen because I'm not going to watch some in-depth tape on the Colts. I'm not, right? The big takeaways I got from the Colts is that they have the leading rusher in the NFL. That dude is tearing it up, right? Danny Dimes is having a resurgence in his career. Now he's top 5 for, like passing yards, bottom 5 for passing touchdowns, right? That's weird. His stats are – there's a bigger picture happening here. And I think that a whole lot of it has to do with that they have an absolute monster of an offensive line. They were projected to have a top 5 offensive line during the offseason. And I don't have PFF and all that shit. So, I wasn't able to pull up like all these numbers and all that shit. But what I was able to really see was that they're getting really good pass protection. And that pass protection is really making it to where Daniel Jones has plenty of time to throw. But really, they are protecting for their running game. Taylor is having a fucking monster of a year, right? And when you have a running back that is running that good, it's going to open up the passing game. Absolutely going to open up the passing game. Now that we have unleashed Ashton Genty, if he can continue to run the way that he ran in the games moving forward, it's going to open up the passing game. Because the Bears weren't playing the run. The Bears were, let's make sure, let's try to copy and paste what the Commanders and the Chargers did. Well, they failed, right? Ashton Genty unleashed with his Michael Myers stance, you know what I'm saying? And he had a hell of a game. And so the Colts aren't going to be able to mimic that. The Colts are going to go in and they're going to say, we got to stop Ashton Genty. Well, guess what happens when you stop Ashton Genty? What happened to the Patriots? They said, we're going to stop Ashton Genty. And Geno Smith went out there and had a field day with the long ball. Santos saying, Geno, go away, Smith. Yeah. So, okay, the Colts schedule. The teams that they have beat, because they are 3-1 right now, right? And it's like, shit, we're going against a 3-1 team. That doesn't look good. Week 1, they beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 1-3, and they're only have that one because they beat the Jets last night. So, okay, they beat the Dolphins, who are having a shitty season, and their coach looks like he's whacked out. I'm telling you, man, I work with drug addicts for a living, man. That coach looked like he tweaking. You know what I'm saying? And then week 2, they went in and they barely snuck one in on the Broncos. That game-winning kick, right? I was happy about that. I was super happy Geno Mediocre Smith. That's exactly what he is. He's not a superstar. But no, us in Raider Nation, we're like, oh, we got Geno Smith. He's going to be a superstar. And then when he's not a superstar, people get all twisted about it. Whoever said he was a superstar? The dude's not a superstar. He got drafted the same year as Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? And he's only had like 5 starting seasons. It's crazy, man. See, and so 925, if we go in here against the Colts, right, who barely squeaked one out against the Broncos, and the Broncos aren't looking very good, man. They're getting some wins. They got 2 wins. They're 2-2. But they're not looking very good, right? And then they went and they stomped on the Titans. Who hasn't stomped on the Titans this year? They're 0-4. And then they went against the Rams, and the Rams aren't some superstar team, but they're decent. They're pretty good, right? And then they might have still had that game if that dude wasn't trying to celebrate before he got the touchdown and went to hold the ball in one hand and it popped out, like what happens to Kenny Pickett, right? But what I'm saying is that the Colts have not had a very difficult schedule at all. So they are absolutely a beatable team if we can contain the run. If we can contain the run. If we play the run like how we did against the Bears, okay, cool, right? If we play, or the Patriots or the Chargers, right? If we play the run the way that we played the Commanders, oh shit, we're in for a bad time. Nick up 299. Yeah, I do play on Prize Picks, actually. I do. Starting to question that decision making now. I've been doing decent, man. I've been doing decent. My problem is that when I start playing on Prize Picks, I start like, instead of just doing like, 2 or 3, I'm like, I'm going to just stack it. I don't have a Discord, man. But I'm like, I'm just going to stack it, right? And I'm going to make all these bets and turn it into the big pot. Let's win the big one, right? And then every time, dude, it's like one dude misses, bro. I missed Dak Prescott needed like 3 extra rushing yards than he got. He only got 2. I needed 5 out of him. Josh Jacobs needed a touchdown. He had a 10-game streak of rushing touchdowns, and then the one game he doesn't get one against the Browns. You know what I'm saying? Like, I keep having like one dude that just like, TJ Watt didn't get a sack. What are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Just stupid things like that. But yeah, it is what it is, man. Um, $75 million waste of money, Smith. Santos, you coming up with all kinds of names, bro. Geno, they wrote back Smith. Not gonna lie, bro. I gotta laugh at that one. All right. Raider Ryan said, was it just me? But on the first interception Geno threw towards Jacoby, it looked like he could have had it, but slowed down and got out of the way of the collision. I love Jacoby, but I can't understand what I saw. So that is absolutely, you can tell looking back on the tape, Jacoby Myers did not try to catch that ball. He absolutely did not. It's like the pass came in and, the defender was right there and Jacoby Smith did this like weird motion and it was like he wasn't even like trying to catch the ball at all. And they got a pick. The one where it wasn't the identical play, but the other one where the guy dove and he caught it and he intercepted it, that one, Geno Smith made a bad throw because he threw it a little bit behind Jacoby, which was catchable by Jacoby, but it made it to where, that dude was able to pick it. If he had led Jacoby Myers on that throw, that dude wouldn't have been able to reach it, and Jacoby myers would have either caught it or it would have been incomplete. Damien, we don't know how long Kolton Miller's out for, but he does have a fracture. I think it's an ankle fracture or on his lower leg. Omar saying that Geno's making Gardner Minshew look like a Pro Bowler. Gardner Minshew is a Pro Bowler. I don't think he should be, but he is. But yeah, no, you're not wrong, Raider Ryan. That one I think was a mistake on Jacoby Myers. The other two, yeah, Geno tried to force the ball in, and I can't try to defend him. I also think Chip Kelly made a bad decision when he called pretty much an identical play. They had a different setup, kind of, but they ran the same exact play, and the Bears defense was just able to read it and get a pick, both times. And then the other one was just absolutely a bad throw. But it's like in those decisions, it's like, it's not like he has Josh McDaniel saying, you absolutely have to throw the ball where I say the ball or else you're in trouble. It's not like that. So it's like, make a different decision. Oh, man. Paul Ken, what's good? Tall Ken said, I'm willing to change my my opinion that Geno sucks. Let's wait a few games. And that's exactly it, right? Because Geno looks awful right now, right? And this is 3 games straight where I have not been happy with the Geno performance. I haven't. Even against the Commanders where his stats look pretty decent. He made some good throws to Trey Tucker. He didn't throw any picks. He still didn't look great. We were playing from behind, and it was like in garbage time that those stats came up. So I'm not convinced because I'm not a stat guy. I'm all about what is your timing. And that's another thing about Kenny Pickett because he doesn't have the stats or the timing. It's awful over there. Let's see. And yeah, it's all Ken. We're improving. We are improving while losing. And we are starting to clean up different layers of this team, different positions in this team. But it's not, let's face it, man, it's not perfect. It's not beautiful. It's not ideal. Is this what I wanted the season to look like? No. After that Patriots game, I was like, we're going to actually have a good team this year. Because we played like that in the damn rain, And then that Chargers game, okay, that brought me back to earth. But it's like, okay, going against the Commanders with Mariota, let's go. After that, I was ready to throw it in, right? But this Bears game, the rest of our team looked very well, right? Our running game, our blocking game, our defense, even our secondary looked pretty damn good. So it's like, okay, am I really going to be out on this team? No. Did Geno Smith look like shit? Geno fooled us, Smith, Santos. It's like, okay, if Geno Smith actually cleans it up, I could see us putting together quite a few wins, right? And I was looking at our schedule because my original prediction was 9-8, right? And it's like, do we still have the ability to go 9-8, starting on 1-3? And I think that that's our ceiling, right? Because I thought before our ceiling was 11 and our basement was 8 wins. Now, I think our ceiling is 9 wins, and our basement can get low if Geno Smith doesn't put it together. To be straight with you, that's my honest opinion. Paul Ken said, "Let's really improve. Let's get over the hump. Godfather said it. It's a law. Just win, baby." There we go. Mr. Escobar, who do y'all even have to replace Geno? Nobody. We don't. And our whole fan base wants to bench him. Whole fan base. Geno was the wrong option from the beginning. Yep. It was. And Joey, putting Miller in, we have a lot to lose because at this point, our season's not over. Now, if we get more let's call it week 10, and Geno Smith is still absolute trash, yeah, maybe at that point we go ahead and put in somebody else. But we are walking into week 5, you guys. Week 5. It's too soon for all that. Talk Ken, we do have 10-win seasons in the last 20 years. Not a lot of them, though. Let me see. Talk Ken is saying that Pete is like AP and McDaniels. Joey, we do not reach out to Carr. And I was talking about it earlier, but I'll go ahead and say it again. Derek Carr is not going to come off the couch, right, where his wife posted a video of him watching the Raiders play the Bears. He's not going to come off the couch and just know Chip Kelly's playbook and have timing with our receivers and just ball out. Especially because he wasn't balling out when he left the NFL, when he retired. Pete, throw the ball on the 1-yard line, Carol. Joey, Russell Wilson may be a possibility. He's not going to be. The Giants are going to hold on to him. They are. They don't have full faith in Jackson Dart just yet. And Raider Rick, I would not take Shedeur Sanders. We could have drafted him at any moment in the first 5 rounds, and we didn't. And then the Browns decided to take him, and he's on the bench's bench. He's like the water boy for the bench. You know what I'm saying? Santos is saying Russell Wilson is washed. Heck no. Yeah, who would you rather have, Russell Wilson or Geno Smith? I mean, some of them suck, right? Both options suck. Hell no, I don't like the 49ers, bro. Oh, shit. Tall Ken talking that shit already, man. It's early for all that, Tall Ken. Talking about putting your granny under center with a good defense. Just Raiders baby said, we can't give that dude excuses, my guy. It's on Geno to realize the pass pro is there. That's his job. I gave him 3 games to turn it around. And if there's a change to be made, it's in the bye week. Okay, I like that. And see, these next 3 games, we got the Colts, we got the Titans, and we got the Chiefs. So how do you guys feel, right? Let's talk theoreticals right now because I don't want to be in fantasy land. Let's just talk through theoreticals, right? Let's say we go in against – hold up, I got to put this stupid puzzle piece because TikTok is weird. We go in against the Colts, right? And the Colts have been playing shitty teams, And let's face it, we could include ourselves in that, right? We go in against the Colts. Kimberly said, Raider Nation from Albuquerque. What's up, Kimberly? I'm in Santa Fe right now. What's good? Glad you found me. Let's say we go in there and we beat the Colts, right? We expose Danny Dimes. What does that look like? They have a good offensive line, a good running game, and Danny Dimes is doing pretty all right. Their defense, it's not super good. It's not super great. They're giving up runs. They're giving up passes. I think that Geno Smith is going to make some proper adjustments, and he's going to really, really, really want to prove a point, right? And he comes back in this game. He plays good. Marcus would follow salute. He comes back in this game. Let's say Geno plays good. Let's say Ashton Genty, runs the ball well. And then we go out there and we beat the Colts. Damn. Okay, we're 2-3. We're 2-3. People are saying, okay, maybe we'll hold off on benching Geno. Cool. And then we go in there against the Titans, who are just getting stomped by everybody, which is, typically the last couple of years, those are the games that we friggin' lose, right? It's like, oh, we're playing a team that's a gimme win, and then we lose. Make them look like a superstar. Let's say we don't do that. Let's say we go in there and we beat the Colts, and then we beat the Titans. Well, damn. We're 3-3 going into week 7 against the Chiefs. Chiefs looked good against the Ravens. They've looked like shit besides that all year. Okay. Are the Chiefs unbeatable? No. What if we lose that game? Okay. Then we're 3-4. Like let's say, like, if we can win these next 2 games, we're back in it. 818 said 3-3 is still last place in the West. Could be. Shit, man. The Chargers could lose the next 2. The Broncos could lose. Chiefs could fucking lose. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that. I mean, it might be. But does that mean our season's over at 3-3? No, it's not. At 3-3, I mean, I don't think that we're going to go on this perfect run and not lose another game, right? Are we a Super Bowl team? No, we are not a Super Bowl team. I will repeat that. For those over there in the back, we are not a Super Bowl team yet. We're not. We're absolutely not a Super Bowl team. Are we a team that could compete for a playoff spot? Yes, we are. What's up, Billy Davis, one of the moderators in the chat? What's good, man? Eli saying we're not even an 8-8 team. We might not be. Sylvia said we have one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in the entire NFL. And we do have a tough division. We absolutely do. Are we an 8-8 team? I could see us going 8-8. Realistically, I could see us going 8-8. A little bit of a reach to get to 9-8. I don't think we're going to win 10 games. Do I think that we at least pull 7? Yeah. Is that great? No. Winning 7 games is not great. 8-8? Actually, it would be 8-9. Because the expansion. 8-9? I'm not going to be mad. Not going to be mad about that at all. I'd be happy to go 8-9 with the way that we've played the last 3 weeks. Yes, we've had 3 losses in a row. That's plenty of reason for us to be upset. Absolutely, man. Lucky T in the building, salute. What's good? Just Raiders baby said 8-9 is my magic number, but I'll take 7-10. No, this is Patrick said put in TRU Raider as QB. I'm going to tell you, my guy. I cannot run and I cannot throw. That is the fact of how I have aged in life. That is not in the cards for me anymore. I'm not even a fat guy that you could put in the O-line. Those dudes going up against friggin' 350-pound monsters. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening for me. I'm not doing that. Just Raiders baby said, we are not making the playoffs. Let's keep it real. We can build off of 7-10 or 8-9. Yes, we can. But if we end up in a position where we're only winning 3, 4, 5 games, Raider Nation is going to be screaming to fire Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Geno Smith. They're going to want to kill Mark Davis's dog. You know what I'm saying? Like the Raider Nation gets all like crazy about shit and we're like, nah, burn it to the ground. You know, it's like we don't need to be in a position where we're doing some shit like that. Cascar, is Geno the problem? I don't think Geno's the solution. But what we're not talking about is what's up with Chip Kelly, man. All right, Sylvia, name a team that got all new coaches, some new owners, a new QB that won a Super Bowl that same year. I can't think of one. The closest was the Commanders last year. You know what I'm saying? Kimberly, sorry off subject, but do you do podcasts after the Raider games? I do a watch party during the Raider games, so I don't show the game or nothing. I'll be on just like this with a better green screen because this one sucks right now. I think it's because I'm at my mother-in-law's. But yeah, you know, and we get in here in the chat and we talk about the game. We talk about what's happening, frustrations, celebrations, whatever it may be. But yeah, you can find me here for every game. And then periodically throughout the week, and then I try to post a bunch of shorts and stuff and all that, you know. Just Raiders baby said, oh, and everyone seemed to have forgotten. Carr retired because his arm is hanging by a thread. His arm is spaghetti. You think Geno is bad? Carr would be worse, and we already tried that, and it wasn't good. And it was good for a time. Kimberly with the share, thank you. Yeah, Cash, frustrated that we don't have any good depth in our QB room. And we're seeing a trend, right, where there's a lot of teams that are having backup quarterbacks go in and win games for their team, right? The 49ers won 2 games with Mac Jones. And then Brock Purdy came back and then they lost, you know. The Giants, they drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. And then, you know, after they drafted him, they had Russell Wilson already on board. And then, you know, they tried the Russell Wilson experiment. They were 0-3. They said, F that. Let's go ahead and put in Jackson Dart. Cash Cart, thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. So, you know, and Pena saying trade for Lance. Hot psych, bolt up, baby. Trey Lance. He's a dude that I could actually see being one of those quarterbacks that actually has like a Danny Dimes kind of resurgence in his career. But I don't do deals with Chargers. Let's see. Oh, shit. 401 Raider Jeff in the building. What's good? Salute to TRU Raider Podcast and the nation. What's going on here? Y'all talking shit, man? It's funny, bro. That is funny, dude. What's good? What's good? Inland said give Pickett a chance. I think give Pickett a chance in practice to win a spot. Because we haven't heard a single peep about, oh, we have a quarterback competition, right? We have a right guard competition. And that's it. Like, what the hell is that all about? Why is it just a right guard competition? I want to hear that we have players that are having to compete, man. You know, Dylan Parham didn't have to compete for left guard, and he was messing up bad. Now, did he actually show up and clean it up? Yeah, most of those really good runs that Genty had were cleared. Dylan Parham cleared the way. So, you know, I like that. I like that shit, man. 401 Raider said, I get 5 seconds of live TV time during the Raider Pats game, and I'm Hollywood stuck. What, they showed you on TV during the game, or what's up, man? Oh, you know what? That's right, bro. I remember seeing that shit. I remember seeing that shit, man. Raiders full Chris in the building. Salute. Jeff, tell us what happened with all that, man. How come you ended up on TV for the Patriots game, man? That shit was crazy. I was like, oh shit. Inland said, I think anyone's better than Geno at this point. Geno doesn't have any go-to receivers. So you're saying since he doesn't have a go-to receiver, that Kenny Pickett's going to do better than him? I'm confused about that. Very confused about that. Just Raiders Baby said, my guy is going to get sponsored by Duncan. All right. So Raider Jeff said, day before we were in Brookton, MA for the Al Davis Memorial. Myself and one other chapter board members had our pick taken holding THBNE chapter flag. Okay. So it was just about that, and then since you guys got your picture taken on that, then that's why they flashed it. Because I remember I was setting up for the watch party and things were getting going, and then I was like, "Oh shit, there's Jeff! What's up?" Like, holy shit, that was cool, man. Raiders full Chris said, "Just run the ball. That's all we need to do." I mean, look, now that we've unleashed the beast in Ashton Genty. And then Raheem Mostert had a great game too. They finally snapped like, oh, maybe Zamir White's not the answer. The rest of us could have told you that. The rest of us could have told you put in JPJ. You know what I'm saying? But then, okay, we get that run game really, really going with these guys. And the Colts aren't really playing the run that good from what I've seen. I don't know their rankings. If somebody knows their rankings in the chat, let me know. But I don't really know what their rankings are with run protection and with their passing defense, right? Because it didn't look very good to me on either one of those. So if we really start off heavy with the run, we get these guys rolling early in the game. They're gonna have to. The Colts are already going to come in looking to try to block the run. And I think the deep ball is going to be there. I really, really do. Inland, I encourage you to go and watch any tape on Kenny Pickett. Go watch any tape on Kenny Pickett, please. It is horrible. The dude sucks so bad. Like, I am not like a Aiden O'Connell truther, saying he's the next Tom Brady. I'm not one of those guys. Aiden O'Connell is a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. Was he in college? No. In the NFL? Yeah. Jay Shizzle with the follow. Salute. Oh, dude, you lost neighbors, bro. Hopefully you didn't trade for Tyreek Hill. All right. Raider Jeff said, so with Miller out, we best be looking to step up Giants training for the left tackle spot. Oh, Grant's training for the left tackle spot so he can compete with Forsyth because he ain't the answer at left tackle. And no, and I don't think he is either. And I'm really upset that, when Pete Carroll was asked about Charles Grant, he kind of like did that Josh McDaniels thing like, and kind of laughed it off and then was like, no, like, Stone Forsyth has a lot of experience. And it was like, man, like DJ Glaze ended up being a starter because of an injury. I think that we give Charles Grant an opportunity, at least give him an opportunity to compete, because they made it sound like Pete Carroll made it sound like it's Stone Forsyth has the job. And that dude is not good. That dude is not good. This Raiders baby said anyone is better than Forsyth. That is facts. Paulie, why did the Raiders not draft Shador? Because they know who he is. And they knew that if they did, then right now everybody would be like, start Shador, bench Geno, right? Which he could surprise some people and play better, but I don't know, man. The fact that Shador Sanders was drafted in the 5th round and is now a 3rd-string quarterback, I think that says everything that has to be said, man. Inland, he sucks worse than Geno. Kenny Pickett has never even thrown for more than 10 touchdowns in a single season. Like, just look up his stats, even. If you don't want to watch the tape, just put in Kenny Pickett stats. It's disgusting. In fact, I'll share it on the screen right now. It's disgusting. I know a lot of people already saw this, but here it is. Kenny Pickett threw for 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, then 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And then they moved on from him. They said, no, this guy sucks after 2 seasons. Mike Tomlin wasn't playing that shit. He said, no. Paulie, Russell Wilson, no. And everybody's going down the same rabbit holes, right? And it's part of the process of this whole thing, right? Of like, who do we have on our roster that could do better? Shit, we don't have anybody on our roster that could do better. Okay, now what do we do? Damn, we should have drafted so-and-so, and we should have this, okay? And that's part of the natural process, right? And then it goes into, is there somebody that we could trade for? Are there any free agents available? And what it comes down to is that there is not a single quarterback that the Raiders could put on this roster today that is going to do a better job than Geno Smith. And not because Geno Smith is the best. Geno Smith is the best that we can have right now. And that is it, right? And then we get into, okay, let's get into an acceptance. And I hope that Geno Smith cleans this shit up like how the O-line did, like how the running game did. I hope he cleans up this shit like the linebackers did with their run defense. And I hope that he puts together a better game in week 5. And that's what it is, man. That is what it is. I don't think that's facts, Raiders Full Chris. He said Colts D-line about to eat. I don't think so, man. I mean, from what I was watching, because their D-line has about as many, they have a little bit more sacks than us, but not by much. And let's face it, we're not getting that many sacks. And so I was watching the Colts, and it seems like they're not playing the run very great at all. Decent, but not great. And they're not really putting a whole lot of quarterback pressure. I mean, maybe you saw something I didn't or something. Yeah, man. Placido. Who are we gonna blame next? The Raiders water boy? Yeah, exactly. That's how it goes, man. Sergio, yeah, but what offensive lines are they facing? Well, and that's true, right? Because the Titans, right? The Rams, the Broncos, and the Dolphins. They don't have, none of those have super great offensive lines either. Sammy with the follow salute. Alex, did they let Miller go? Are you talking about Cam Miller? Sports and Coffee paid too much money to bench Geno. Give him 2-3 more weeks. This is the easiest part of our schedule. Sergio with the follow salute. Sammy, yeah, it's not going to work like that. Trade Geno Smith and Aaron O'Connell for some O-line and add Sanders. It's not going to work like that. But yeah, their defensive line isn't that crazy. I'm not too worried about them, honestly. I'm really not. And I could be wrong. Raiders Full Chris, I could be wrong. Paulie, maybe Tom Brady is like Michael Jordan, a GOAT player, but not a GOAT owner. I mean, he's a very, very slim minority owner that has very little to do with anything. But right now, we'd be better off with Tom Brady taking off the suit and putting on a damn jersey. He could just take Aiden O'Connell's jersey that already has the number 12 on it. Yeah, Cam Miller, he's on our practice squad. So he could get elevated. He could. But he played really good in that first preseason game. And then the next 2 preseason games, he didn't play very well at all. Okay, Hungry Wolves. That's fine with me. Doesn't change my life at all. It's crazy. People are crazy sometimes, bro. Raiders baby said shit. Line up Ian Thomas on the left side to help Forsyth. I mean, that's probably what it's gonna be looking like, man. It's probably what it's gonna be looking like. I don't like the fact of Forsyth going in at left tackle at all. Yeah, Raiders full Chris. Hopefully Mayer is back so he can help block and stuff. Because if not, man, we're gonna have an ugly game. Freddie with the follow. Salute. We're gonna have an ugly game if that's the case. All right, you guys. I've been on for an hour and a half. I had an endoscopy today, man, and so they put a fucking camera down my throat, and my shit hurts right now, man. So I'm talking too much, and it's getting all crazy. Alcantara with the follow. Salute. So I appreciate you guys, man. You guys have been a great chat today, for real. There we go. Maybe Brady gets some reconstructive surgery and grows a far mustache and just says he's AOC. Oh, man. Raiders for Chris. That's a beautiful way to end the live. You guys have been awesome. I'm going to be here for the game against the Colts. I'll absolutely be here. And it's no matter how awful we play or how good we play, I'm going to be here for the watch party. So I hope to see you guys here. I don't know that I'll be able to go live again before, but I might put out a shorter video. There definitely is going to be shorts, but like a 10-minute video or something. But I definitely hope to see you guys on game day. Let's go out there and let's kick them Colt butt. Let's show Indiana Jones that he ain't the guy. Like always, I love you, nation. I'll catch you on the next one.